Sounds good.
Good. So, like, tell the people about you, who you are, where you come from, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, as you know, I'm Little B. I started dancing 2007, 2006, 2007, so it's been like 13-ish years now. I'm from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, locking was my first street style dance that I got into from my teacher was Shy Guy, if you guys know him too. Like I've known him since I was 13. He was like my big brother, so he kind of introduced me to dance after he got into it in college. And I started when I was 20, so it was kind of a late bloomer. But never too late. That's what I tell everybody. Never too late. I didn't start when I was like super young or anything. I did like performances and musicals and stuff like that, but nothing ever really street dance related. Right away, like I wanted to hit the big stages of battles because that's what I was first introduced to when I first started like seeing locking. Like P-Lock and P-Lock was my big inspiration in the beginning, besides my teachers, and like seeing Kilty and Bosch and the Go-Go Brothers. Like those are the people like I thought about battling when I first started. And yeah, like I didn't get to battle them specifically, but I made my way up the ranks of being able to like travel and battle. Started out a lot battling in the Bay Area, a lot of all styles at the time. There were a couple of like locking things, but mostly all styles, especially at that time, 2007 era. I traveled a lot to LA. That's where I did a lot of my training and meeting with people, entered a lot of battles there. My first battle was actually Homeland in Southern California. If you guys know that battle, it was very big back in the day.
Should I translate that before we
sure.
move on? Yeah, cool.
Sure.
Bien, él es, so like actually your name is Brian Perez, right?
Yes.
Was that Brian Filipino? Yeah, because like a lot of my friends were asking like, well, that's a Spanish name,
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, because Filipinos, right? So
I'll just kindly say that the Spanish last names were kindly given to my peoples in the Philippines.
Because Dan Perez too. That.
Yeah, you told me, yeah. So it could be somewhat related.
Somehow. Right, I'm going to translate that for the Spanish speaker.
Sure.
Él es LIL-B de San Francisco Bay Area. Se introduce. Empezó a bailar en el 2007. Empezó a bailar locking como su primer estilo urbano. Su inspiración fue Shy Guy, es un bailarín también ahí de la Bay Area, por si no lo conocen. Y bueno, él fue su inspiración, con él empezó a bailar, él lo llama como el gran hermano, le dice. Empezó a bailar cuando tenía 20 años. Él, así que dice él, nunca es demasiado tarde para empezar. Perdón. Y eso, remarca esto de que no empecé cuando era más chico, así que a los 20, primero como a lo que se dirigió de entrada, casi cuando apenas arrancó, fue a las batallas. Y menciona como inspiración a P-Lock y a los Go-Go Brothers, que dice que no llegó al punto de batallarlos, pero ellos fueron como su inspiración al principio. Pero sin embargo, bueno, ha marcado su camino para viajar y para competir por todas partes del mundo, y empezó allá por el 2007 a competir. En principio eran más batallas all styles, y bueno, hasta ahí llegamos, y ahora le voy a seguir preguntando un poco más acerca de batallas. So, talking a bit more about your battles then. So, which one was your first battle, you say?
Homeland. That's in Long Beach. Yeah. Homeland was like the mecca of street dance for a long time. Like if you were in town for a battle on the weekend, you make sure you stay until Monday night, because that's where you'd see like dozens of street dancers, and there's free classes, and you see like some of the top like LA popping and breaking and locking dancers. It was great. Like that was one of the reasons, like 2010, I was driving there every weekend from the Bay Area for a couple of months, and that's like 5-6 hour drive. Because to me, that
Whoa.
was the place to be. Yeah, like I was always waiting to make that long of a trip. I was like always waiting for somebody, but like to go with me. But I was like, you know what? If I want to go and just experience it, I have to just start doing it myself. And honestly, like 5-6 hour drive of just not worrying about what music I'm playing for somebody else was really helpful. Like that's where I learned all my music.
On those 6 hours. Great. Yeah, I bet. Like 6 hours, like for like each weekend,
Yeah.
you can learn a lot,
Yeah, and then
right?
like I listened to like the same song for like 3-4 hours just because I was like, I don't like this song. I have to learn to love it because they play it in battles. Like and like
Studying
my
track.
first yeah, my first like 3-4 years of dancing, I actually didn't like any James Brown music. Like I just didn't get it. I didn't
You
like
didn't
it.
like it?
I didn't like it. I didn't understand it. Um, and there were so many like dancers and DJs that were like, "You ain't locking if you ain't dancing to James Brown." I was like, "But I don't get it." And I'm pretty sure the music I like dancing to, like I'm feeling it. I'm killing it. I don't see what the difference is. But later on when I started learning about more like inner groove and polyrhythms and how to express like where the dance came from, I started to really love James Brown. But
No.
yeah, I'll never like disagree that I didn't like it in the beginning. It was weird for me. But
Cool. Well, you're just being honest. It's good. You changed your hat. I just realized it. Like,
yeah,
when? I
the other one
didn't
just
see
sits
that.
on my head. It doesn't do anything for me.
You just want to copy me. Like,
Oh yeah, I did.
there you go. Okay, I'm going to translate that. Cuenta la primera batalla, le pregunto yo. Primera batalla a la que él participó y habla Homeland, que eran unas batallas que se hacían en Long Beach. Solía manejar 6 horas cada fin de semana desde su casa, por ahí, porque estaba re manija, porque iba y sabía que tenía que ir ahí, era la meca en ese momento de las batallas de todos los estilos. Entonces, se ríe porque dice que durante esas 6 horas escuchaba música y era como su estudio, usaba ese tiempo para estudiar la música y que muchas veces se ponía a escuchar canciones que no le gustaban y las escuchaba una y otra vez porque así, o sea, él sabía que las iban a tocar en las batallas, entonces dice, me tengo que aprender el tema. Incluso dice de que al principio no le gustaba James Brown, y lo admite, como que le costaba entenderlo, dice que sabía que era importante y todo, pero él como que no lo entendía, no le llegaba. Y después cuando empezó a estudiar más polirritmos y otras cosas, grooves y otras cosas relacionadas con la música, fue como que ahí le dio el cierre, pero como que al principio no le gustaba. Y bueno, conté esa anécdota. Re manija, 6 horas todos los fines de semana, ¿eh? Hay que manejar. Someone is asking you about the famous battle against Morris. I met LIL-B in this battle. What is
Oh
this battle?
yeah.
Is the one that
That's
you sent me?
yeah, that's one of the I sent you. That's versus B-Boy Morris. It was like 2009, I think 2008, 2009. This is when I just started uh with Academy of Villains. If you guys know them, they're huge now, like all over America. Um, I'm first generation Academy of Villains, and I think that really helped change my mindset about battling in a way at the time. Like, I
Mm.
felt like I was really standing for something really big, just because we were like a new crew trying to like tackle battling and choreo, and it was just like I was just rolling with a lot of cool people. That was like my third crew at the time. Like I originally was with DS players, but I can talk about them too later. Um, with Morris, I uh, I didn't know who he was. Like a lot of people were telling me like right then and there, like right afterwards, like, do you know who that was? I was like, I have no idea. Like I just saw B-Boy, and for like my first 3 years of battling in all styles, I always lost to B-Boys because I was, I see them do hella tricks and I try to do tricks, but I'm a locker. I have like one trick, which is like some sort of split. and it just looked, you know, it wasn't good. It wasn't good trying to battle a b-boy like that. So I changed my mentality of just like, don't watch him, don't try to answer his his tricks. And I had my now known as like my famous hat trick that I did. I actually watched it a lot when I sent you the video because I love that. It's like one of my favorite moments. It's probably like my
Should I
shining
like put
moment in
it? Like,
battling.
let's like, I'm gonna like look it for it then.
You should. There's just like one like 30 seconds that you have to show of it. But that was huge for me because Morris was super famous at the time. Like he'd won a ton of like overseas battles. He's from Sacramento, like really cool dude. But he was major and he still is today. And after that battle went online, it was just like very early YouTube days, I guess. But yeah, that video went among all the b-boys and everyone's like, "Do you see this locker that beat Morris?" Because I didn't know it was a big deal. But
okay, let me. Why is it not coming? Okay.
yeah, I spent like the hat trick that I do in there. I spent like 5 to 6 months just kind of playing around with it and perfecting it.
Should be this one. Okay, so like you wanna like watch that bit, like the hat trick?
Sure, if you want.
I mean, we can watch it like 4 minutes, 17 minutes.
Oh no, there's just like a 30-second window that you need to put on. Yeah, so just put that on. Exactly. Okay, see, that's the.
Okay, let me play. Vamos a poner una batalla con la que fue contra el B-Boy Morris. En ese tiempo que él no sabía quién era ese B-Boy, está contando de que él es primera generación de la Academy of Billions, que es una crew de allá, que no sé si la conocen, pero él es primera generación de esa crew, y eso lo ayudó en su mentalidad de batalla, ¿sí? Entonces, esta batalla que estamos por ver ahora, él no sabía quién era este B-Boy, muy famoso en el momento, y sumado a que iba contra un B-Boy, que los B-Boys tienen un montón de footwork y power moves, y tienen un montón de trucos, y él como que no tenía ese nivel, entonces no se dejó influenciar por eso y le agarró por otro lado, lo cual es esto que estamos por ver ahora. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm just like playing, then 1 minute 29, you're already dancing, let's see. Okay.
And that's like most of my crew just like running around everywhere. That's Far Side.
Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again that bit. What is that? Is that a magic trick? Like, like, you're gonna tell about this. You're gonna explain this, okay? Reveal the secret. Nah, look at that. Okay, explain yourself.
I don't know if I can give away the magic trick, but yeah, that was like one of my big shining, defining moments of being more known and recognized. The panel for that was really big too. Like Bionic was one of the judges. I was living with him at the time, but you know, just still, he's like huge. Yeah, during those years, I was really more focused on putting on a show, like performing, being a character, more than I was about dancing. And I remember afterwards, my teacher, Seach, he talked to me after seeing some of the battles. He didn't see that one, but he was talking to me about, you know, what if you have a lot of strong charisma and character and musicality, but your dancing is just not really up there when you battle. What if you go up against someone who has good charisma and character and personality and they can dance? Like, maybe dance is like their strong point, you know? Like, what happens then? You're like, I'm pretty sure you're always going to lose. And that's what happened. I actually battled my crew member, Dennis Infante, if you guys know him from Groom Mechanics. And, like, dude, honestly, all the way up to the finals, I was feeling really strongly about myself during that battle. Like, I was like, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one I win. Because I don't think I'd won anything yet at the time, maybe. But I remember being really strong about it. But when I went up against Dennis, I had so much respect for him that I didn't want to be my character self with all the personality and character and tricks. Like I did a lot of random little tricks during the course of that battle, like up until the finals. But when I went against him, I felt really like it was weird. I kind of felt ashamed of myself. Like I'm going up against Dennis. I want to dance against Dennis, but that's not how I got here. That's not how I got to the finals. Like Dennis got here just by being himself, being groovy, and that's what being a dancer is about. But I wasn't there yet, so I feel like I kind of cheated the system because that's how I work. Like I find ways to like break games to make it work for me. And yeah, if I don't usually watch that video, but I got whooped there, and rightfully so because Dennis to me is like the one. But yeah.
Está hablando de que para él en ese tiempo era poner una performance. Bailar cuando él batallaba era la performance, era el personaje, el carisma, la personalidad, todo eso, y no tanto por ahí la parte del baile. Que en ese momento su maestro Stitch le dice, como, ¿qué pasa si vos tenés todo eso, el carisma, la personalidad, la performance, toda esa parte, pero tu danza está medio floja, y vas contra alguien que tiene todo lo otro, que mencioné ya, y es bueno en la danza? Como que tenés que trabajar también en la danza más allá de todo lo otro positivo y muy fuerte que puedas tener. Menciona esto de la batalla que va contra Dennis Infante, que es otro miembro de la crew de él, Groove Mechanics, que en esa batalla en particular, que Dennis lo menciona como que él tiene ese fuerte lado de la danza, de groovy, es re buen bailarín, y él como que en ese momento, batallando contra él, pensaba si, como en dónde ponerse, en la parte del baile o en la parte de la performance, más allá de lo que ya le habían dicho, la parte de esto, de la personalidad, el carisma y todo esto que había mencionado, el show. Y sin embargo, bueno, fue como para ese lado de nuevo. Y como que el respeto que le tenía a Dennis. So, what happened in that battle against Dennis? You lost or you won?
Oh, I totally lost.
Y perdió en esa batalla contra Dennis. When was that?
It's like 2008, 2009, I believe.
2008-2009. So did you make like a change after that? Like you was like, okay, I need to improve my dance, or like what was like the outcome?
Yeah,
after that?
like to be honest, like 2009, I think a lot of the winning or doing really well in the battles and like just getting more recognized. My ego was through the roof. Like I had such a big head, and I think my attitude towards people and myself and the way that I was like approaching dance and practices and stuff like that really reflected that I had a bad attitude. I really thought I was the shit, and it just didn't reflect well. I didn't like who I was. I got called out for it by someone I was seeing at the time, and there were some people in the dance community that was not very kind to me behind my back, and I caught wind of it, and it really hurt, and I almost quit. I almost wanted to stop dancing because like I just didn't understand what was wrong with me. I didn't understand why like I was having hate coming my way, and it wasn't just like competitive hate. Like I'm okay with that, like we can be competitive and you can leave it at that, but it felt more like a personal attack, and I almost quit. I really wanted to stop dancing because I didn't like that kind of negativity could spawn when I thought I was trying to be positive, but honestly, I wasn't. I was all about myself. I had such an ego.
That's a strong point over there.
Yeah, like I'll admit to it because to me that was another time like I had to crawl out of a big hole that I dug myself into. And when I look back at it, if I wasn't called out the way that I was, I don't think I would have changed, and I think I would have gone down a really bad path. To me, it's kind of like looking back at it, it's kind of like I was being less like myself, and I was being what I thought people wanted me to be. Just like how I perceived a winner to be, and I thought that's what I need to be like. I was kind of an asshole, and it wasn't a good look. It wasn't good for me. So yeah, 2010 was my big year where I decided to change my locking, change my dance, change myself. And I told myself to start from the beginning again. This is my third, fourth year of dancing. So I told myself to train again from the very beginning, like teach myself how to pace and what it means and like everything. I just taught myself. Like I spent like 6 to 7 hours in the studio from like midnight to the morning just training because I just wanted to be better. I didn't understand how else to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me, if you can, let me translate that so we can like
Yeah.
move into that. It's really interesting. I love this. Bueno, ¿qué pasa con esa batalla que veníamos hablando hace un rato? Le cambia la perspectiva, lo golpea en el aspecto le golpea el ego, básicamente, porque él venía de una racha de ganancia fuertísima y se sentía ahí arriba, obviamente. Que, sin embargo, no le gustaba la actitud que él tenía, y eso también, ¿qué pasa? A sus espaldas había mucho chismerío, mucho odio, hate. Le venían comentarios que no era el odio competitivo, con el que él dice, con eso lo puedo lidiar, como digamos, que se habla pero desde el lado de la competición, sino como que venía por otro lado. Y a tal punto fue la presión que casi termina, casi deja de bailar, porque se había hartado de la situación. Dice él que él creía que estaba siendo positivo lo que él hacía, pero en realidad no se trataba de eso. Él dice, se trataba de mí, en el aspecto del ego. Entonces dice que para el 2010 fue como el antes y el después, donde él cambió su locking, cambió su forma de hacer las cosas. Dice que empezó de cero de nuevo, de que iba y entrenaba horas y horas en el estudio, se enseñó a sí mismo una nueva forma, porque quería cambiar eso, de todo eso, de esa otra personalidad que él tenía y toda esa otra visión y reflexión que tenía antes. Entonces hizo como un cambio. Y ahora vamos a empezar a hablar de eso. I think Travelogue is like sending something like when learning. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, this is a really good question, David. Thank you. When learning, there are different lessons we gain from classes, from ciphers, from performances, open style battles, or purely locking battles. What sticks out to you from situations listed above? My go-to answer is everything. Like all of those things are important, but that's just kind of like the band-aid answer. To me, it's who you're connected with at any of these things. Whether you go to like a new session or cipher and you go by yourself, who do you connect with? Who do your eyes like automatically lock into, and maybe you want to dance with them or just observe and watch them? Because everything that you listed is about community, or like a lot of people in a building, in a room, connected by the music, and then our language to speak together is dance, right? So we don't speak the same language, but we're listening to the same thing. When everyone's united under one thing, that's what helps everyone be able to speak to each other better, right? So by me improving my dance in any of those situations, it helped me communicate better. And with communicating better, people, spoke back to me in both, like in actual conversation and in dance. Because if I'm being my true self, my pure self, I feel like other people were able to do that towards me or for each other in that same space too. Because also when I teach locking specifically, like I like to talk about each of these things, right? Like what you gain from classes and from ciphers and from performances. But the reason I bring that up is because I think in locking there's different ways of thinking about the dance, right? Like the way that you dance in a performance, like on stage with people or during a solo, is very different than it would be if you're in a club where it's not really like a cipher, but you're just dancing with whoever's there, or you're dancing by yourself, just enjoying a drink, just listening and just kind of grooving out, or you want to get off. But that feeling is very different than being on stage, especially as a locker. As a locker, I feel like it's completely okay in a performance and a battle to be 200% of yourself, right? If you know what 100% is, be 200%. The same can be true in a club setting. Like I've been known to do that too, but you know, it's how you want to present yourself, present your dance, and communicate. Um, and honestly, because this is like an all over, you know, international conversation, it depends on what you have near you. Do you have more of a community that's more about people congregating and doing performances? Then, you know, put a lot of energy towards that because you're showing that you're about that community. If it's about open styles battles or just like, you know, strictly locking battles, you know, use that to your advantage and just use it, like be a part of it, because maybe someone else in another part of the country doesn't have that, or in another country they don't have that. You know, like I'm lucky now in the Bay Area, we figured out all style battles, so I know what I'm getting into if I go to it. But if I go to somewhere else in the world, I don't know what it's like. So it's kind of hard for me to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna do an all style there. It just depends on what you know about your community, and you know, take that all in. Sometimes it's not about changing the community; it's about being with it, so you know what everyone's about. And I really believe that, like, be a player in the game instead of like a game changer right away.
Oh, I want to write that down.
Mm.
Okay, let me. Oh, a lot to translate in a minute.
Yeah.
Ay, Dios mío. Tenemos que tener un sistema de subtítulos automáticos para no perder. Uno de los chicos acá le pregunta, cuando aprendes, hay diferentes lecciones que ganamos de clases, de ciphers, de performances, de batallas de estilos abiertos, o solamente de batallas de locking. Dice, ¿qué sacas de cada una de esas situaciones listadas? Bien. Y él habla de la conexión que se arma con las personas, no importa el contexto, ¿sí? Cómo haces contacto visual con la gente con la que estás, ¿no? Todo dice, todo es comunidad, menciona él, que la danza es nuestro lenguaje, que no importa de qué parte del mundo venís, de qué lenguaje hablas, pero la danza es nuestro lenguaje, que esto por eso hace que se una la gente, no importa de dónde vengas. Él hace esta reflexión de que si él saca de él mismo lo más puro de él, va a causar el mismo efecto en los otros o las otras, va a causar como el efecto espejo de que los otros van a reflejar lo mismo. Entonces él le entrega lo que él también quiere recibir, si se entiende. Cuando él le enseña, él habla de la situación del contexto de clases, él enseña estas cosas y llega a la reflexión de cómo las diferentes situaciones, como te presentas como bailarín, bailarina, como shows, como competiciones, como batallas, hacen que vos te adaptes y que reflejes una u otra cosa, depende el escenario en donde te estés presentando. Los sentimientos son distintos, habla. Y habla acerca de qué sabes de la comunidad en la que vos estás. ¿Qué sabes de esa comunidad? Porque cuando viajas y vas por otros lados, las comunidades también cambian, son distintas, los sentimientos son distintas, la forma de hacer las cosas. ¿Cómo me veo reflejado en eso? Él vuelve a hablar de esto del espejo. Y él, la última frase, la que me dejó resumando, es ser un jugador del juego en vez de alguien que cambia el juego. Si algo así, por decirlo en español. I think Keegan saying,
Yeah.
do you feel some more mature dance is less about tricks now? Some people say dance becomes more internal as you get older. What do you think about that?
Again, from personal experience in general, I believe that to be true. But it's also kind of important to define what a trick is, I guess. Because yeah, like I guess when you hear the word trick, you'll think of something like tricking, right? Or you'll think of I like b-boys, because to me as a locker, literally anything a b-boy does is a trick, because it's like, that's crazy, that's very impressive, I can't do it, that's a trick. Like, you know, they're on their backs, they're in the air, they're like sliding around the ground, like, you know, just obviously I know it's more than that, but that's the general perception of it. But for me, tricks also works as something that I prepare, kind of like a magic trick, I guess, but it's also using your environment, right? So still today, if I go to a battle, I like look at the place, I scope it out, I see what I can use. Is there like an empty chair next to the judge, or is there a stage that I
Mm.
can jump off of or jump onto? A is there like the camera that's being used by the host that, you know, that's obviously going to be used for later? Like, that's something I want to interact with. What's the layout of all of the dancers, like, that's watching, all of the audience? Like, how can I interact with them? How can I go into the audience? How can I come out of it? Um, where am I going to come from when they call my name? You know, things like that. You know, like it could just be something as simple as that, but like, to me, it's the same thing. Like, as in a battle, you're trying to use whatever information you can gather, especially if nobody else is doing it. It gives you, you know, kind of an advantage. And I'm all about that. Like, sometimes to me, yes, dancing is incredibly important, but in the battle scene, if I'm remembered more because I jumped over the judges because they called my name, I'm not even like dancing yet.
Oh my God, that moment where you take off the shoes, you give it to
Yeah,
the
see,
judge.
like to me, that
All
round,
my
that
friends
round,
were talking about that.
yeah, at WDC, like, that round was huge to me, only because I'm remembered for the one thing that I brought and how I used it. It's my shoes, right? It had,
But were
my
you
dancing was
thinking
okay
that
though.
beforehand? Did something that you were
No,
like, I'm gonna do that? Or like in the moment, generally, you were like, boom,
no, in
be
the
honest.
moment, because
Yeah.
honestly, like, even now when I try to take off those shoes as fast as I cannot do it. Like, that is not something I practice. Those shoes are really hard to take off. But the funny thing is, if you watch this battle also, sorry, I can't remember his name right now.
Look what Keegan is doing.
I remember Busted Move when you walked on stage with a pizza hat like a shield. Yes, because I was like Captain America because I was in Canada, right?
Ah!
Yeah,
I love it.
but for that shoe thing, this is the World Dance Coliseum where I entered with Firelock, and in the finals, you know, I took off my teddy bear shoes and gave it to the judges. But you know, that itself is a moment. But the other reason that was really important inside of the battle was because I don't remember the opponent's name right now, but you know, it's the second time I battled them. If you watch the video, he jumps onto the podium where the judges are, and he like pushes the podium towards the judges. You know, it was very like, oh shit, are you guys okay? Like, let's stop dancing. Is everything okay? Like, you were good. So, you know, from the judges' perspective, it was kind of like that was a trick gone wrong. And to me,
Yeah.
my trick was to just be like, I don't need to jump on here to make a moment. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna give you my shoe and leave, right? Like,
It's like, yeah, yeah,
sometimes
you
a
can't
trick to me is what creates a moment. And it could just be within just pure dancing, but create your moment. Like, what will you be proud of? What moment will you remember? Because when you think back, you can't remember a full minute of your round. You might hang on to, or just like that one thing, that one something that you're just proud of, and not because anyone recognized it or made them. They like created an event or moment over it, but you yourself, like, what was my moment that I'm leaving here today?
Oh, God.
So
Okay, I'm going to
that's
translate that. That's a lot of good information there. Love it. Eh, la pregunta es de que ahora que ya ha avanzado, alguien le pregunte ya ahora que lleva más años, si se ha convertido como en un bailarín más maduro, si, cómo ve esto de los trucos. Y él dice, primero definí qué significa truco para vos. Porque instantáneamente cuando hablamos de trucos nos vamos como más al lado de los b-boys, donde hacen como cosas, destrezas súper difíciles, son impresionantes, son re locas, nos lleva como para ese territorio. Pero para él, por ejemplo, también un truco puede ser llevado al territorio de la ilusión, llevado al territorio como de la magia. Entonces dice, cuando yo voy a batallar, When trick goes bad, yes.
Yep.
That's what trouble looks like.
Trouble would know.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question about that in a minute. Entonces, dice, por ejemplo, que usar lo que hay a tu alrededor. Dice, yo salgo y veo la silla vacía y ya lo veo como un potencial. El camarógrafo. Dice, ¿de dónde voy a salir cuando yo llaman mi nombre a la batalla? Todo eso pienso. Dice, lo uso como parte de mis trucos. Entonces yo le pregunto, porque si ustedes vieron el video de presentación que yo usé con él, en una batalla él se saca la zapatilla y se le da al juez y se va caminando. Y ese momento, digamos, él cuenta que en esa misma batalla el otro contrincante se quiso como subir al podio de los jueces y salió como mal, ¿viste? Y quedó como medio raro ese momento. Y sin embargo, para él fue algo muy sencillo, como acercarse al podio, pum, le dio las zapatillas y se fue. Y habla de cómo crear un momento también es un truco. Crear un momento que se va a acordar la gente, y te va a hacer sentir orgulloso, orgullosa. Uno de los chicos, Keegan, le pone, el día que entraste, usando tu sombrero, me dice, como escudo, y él dice, claro, porque él estaba en Canadá y era como Capitán América, entró así. Entonces habla de esto, de crear un momento también es un truco. I love it. What was like why you said like Trouble looks know about that, like when tricks go bad? Why?
I don't want to talk crap about Trouble, but I call him Liability Lock because he's always liable of getting hurt and hurting himself during a battle. But just in general, like when tricks go bad, like it happens. There's a lot of reasons for it. It doesn't just mean like you hurt yourself, but like Trouble would. But maybe you practice like a 360 half split and you mess up, and then it ruins your round. Or you practice this one trick and you start the round and all you can think about is that trick. You forget about the music, you forget about the audience, you forget about dancing. I've seen it happen to so many people. I don't even know what your trick is, but in the first like 40 seconds of you dancing, I know it's all you're thinking about. Right?
Yeah.
So it's important also to like, let's just say it's something like a 360 split again, right? It's important to practice using it naturally. Like, don't just make it, in the beginning it feels like you're practicing a trick, but it should feel like this is just as natural as my pace or my point. Like, it needs to just be exactly like that. It needs to be like, oh, this part of the music's coming. I'm going to use it and I'm going to hit it on beat because I know how I can use it to the music and not just, I'm going to do it now. And I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of mindless tricks. Like the same thing, like 360 split, like a Hip Hop International 2007. Everyone was doing it for some reason, and it was just so empty that it was kind of like, it's not hitting. To me, it doesn't matter what the trick is, it's how you use it. And is it natural to you? Does it feel like it's effortless and I'm able to bring it out to the music? Does it feel like I'm still expressing myself as opposed to like stopping my dance to do a trick?
I see what you mean. Yeah, like, okay, trick time.
Yeah. And I got a lot of that mentality also from Chaz from Groove Mechanics, because he would say like, practice doing this move, like maybe it was like a coffee grind, and he was like, do it like a locker, right? Like that must mean something very different to everybody that hears it, because usually you'll just do a coffee grind and you're like, I'm just gonna do it, like I'm just gonna do it like a b-boy or however I think I'm supposed to do it. But when Chaz said do it like a breaker, or do it like a locker, or like do a cartwheel but do it like a locker, like what does that mean?
Okay. I want to like go into that subject before after I translate this, because we're going to talk about like what is doing like a locker, like that is what we talked about. So let's move into that like after I translate.
Sure.
Habla Trouble Lock, que es uno de las personas que está mirando acá, le tira cuando los trucos salen mal. Entonces nos reímos de esa frase, pero él dice que bueno, que es verdad eso, porque digamos, está ese riesgo de que el truco no salga, que lo que vos querés hacer no salga al momento de la performance, al momento del baile, lo que sea. Él reflexiona de que muchas veces pasa, de que cuando alguien ya sabe que van a hacer un truco, está a los 40 segundos de la battle, ponele, pensando en que van a hacer el truco, y es como que se olvidan de bailar. Entonces yo hago esa broma de como que el momento de quiebre de que vos ves ahí, que, bueno, el momento del truco ahora. Y él reflexiona, digamos, de cómo un truco tiene que estar al mismo nivel de naturalidad de hacer otro movimiento, un point, un wrist roll, cualquier otro foundation move. Tiene que estar al mismo nivel de naturalidad. Entonces tenés que practicarlo tantas veces y en diferentes situaciones que te sean naturales, para que en el momento que lo elijas hacer sea algo orgánico, natural. No es que lo tengas que pensar. Y bueno, y también está ese riesgo que salga mal, digamos, pero es parte de eso. Él hablaba de esto del 360 split, que fue algo como que se reusó en su momento y ya era hasta como aburrido de ver, ya era como, bueno, alguien más lo está haciendo. Habla de esto de hacer un movimiento como locker. De Groove Mechanics Chat, que lo conocen algunos de ustedes, dice hacer algo como locker, cualquier sea lo que estás haciendo. Y cada persona lo va a interpretar de diferentes formas. Entonces yo le digo, ¿qué es hacer como locker? Entonces vamos a explorar ahora de esto, de la esencia del locking o de ser locker, ¿qué nos referimos con esto? So let's talk about this. Look as a locker. What?
Yeah, add on really quick to that, because you're saying, or saying like this, the foundations of, or yeah, if you're going to do a trick or something, like you want to make it as natural as possible, just like it's like your foundation move. In locking, there's obvious like foundation moves. This is what makes the dance, and that's what you need to learn to be a locker, right? At the bare minimum. But don't always just take that definition of what foundation is. Foundation is also what you create for yourself. Like, I think that's really important, like when you're training, because I of course I like to say, if you're a locker, learn these foundational moves, but also maybe when you and I cipher, teach me your foundation, like what makes you you. Like, what did you work on that, like,
okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, your two-step is different. Why? Like, I bounce a little bit more, or I use my head a little bit more. Like, those little things is really important to kind of, like, identify for yourself, because it's not just about what does the dance say to do. It's like, well, what do I say to do? What do I want to do? How do I use my body? Because my body is different than, like, Scramble Lock's body, because he's, like, tall and, like, longer limbed, right? Like, his foundation is going to be way different than mine. So when someone like me and him talk, like, that's the kind of stuff I want to, like, talk about and ask, because that's how we grow. Even though, like, it won't be applicable, like, exactly what he does, but I'll understand it for myself, and I'm learning more about my body through that than it is just like, this is how you do a pace and this is how you point and do it like a locker. Like, yeah, that, just want to throw that on there because there's a lot of good people listening.
No, yeah, like, well, there's comments here, Levin. Oh.
Yes, do them exactly how you practice. That makes.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say is the when you're talking about everybody has their own foundations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all different.
What would you?
Right? Because what you make the distinction in between like locking foundations,
mm-hmm,
and your foundations.
Yeah. I think it's going to, like, more bare minimum of, like, maybe it's not a move that has a name. Like, maybe the way that I do a two-step for forever is different than somebody else. I want to make sure that that's good. I can do that all of the time, right? And I'll use that same kind of mentality when creating any sort of trick, because that's mine. That's me. I'm not doing somebody else's half split. I'm not doing it like the lockers. I'm not jumping over 6 people or trash cans, right? Like, yeah, body mechanics, just like Garrett for Lock Static is saying, it's really important to understand your body mechanics. And I think I'm just more hounding on the definition of what foundation is, because foundation doesn't stop at, the 4 locking moves that we have. Foundation is what you create. Like, if I wrote down all the moves and tricks I have, that's my foundation. And it might even just be as simple as, like, how do I look at people? what distance do I look at people? That's foundation to me, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Habla de cómo hablamos de los fundamentos. Porque yo nombraba recién los fundamentos del locking, pero él también habla de que cada individuo como bailarín, bailarina, tiene sus fundamentos, porque la propia esencia de cómo uno hace las cosas, entonces va más profundo a cada uno, dice él, como que cada uno tiene su forma de hacer las cosas, la forma en que él va a hacer el pace, va a ser como distinto a de otros bailarines, bailarinas, de mías o de otros, y entonces yo le indago, como entonces, ¿por dónde va? Y él habla de esto, del conocerse bien a uno mismo, conocer cuál es tu esencia como bailarín, bailarina, y de esa indagación personal, porque cada uno va a tener como una interpretación distinta de sus propios fundamentos. Y eso es lo que quiero seguir indagando con él, digamos. How you apply them to your body, says Suse.
Yeah.
Cómo los
Susie
aplicamos
got
en
the
el
right
cuerpo.
idea.
Ah, okay, I thought it was a question. Okay, no, it's how you apply them to your body.
Yeah.
Claro, Suse menciona de cómo aplicamos esos fundamentos a nuestro cuerpo. I guess, I mean, I would say like that is actually how you dance, basically,
Yeah.
right? Like how you feel the music, how you just express with movement, right? So,
the reason I bring it up is because I feel like people can easily stop at what they think foundations is. I've seen it happen with a lot of lockers, right? Even a lot of poppers. You think the foundation is just, contracting your muscles, but there's a lot more than that goes into it. It's the same thing with lockers. I've seen a lot that they get the moves down and then they kind of, that's all they do. They just do locking fundamentals and they do it very funny or very wild. And, that's not really foundation in a sense. Like your foundation can also be your character, your mannerisms. Like the way that I am in a battle is very different than the way I am in real life. And it's very easy to see that clear distinction, right? But that's because a lot of it is not I want to say pre-prepared, but it's been well thought out. How do I think about myself and how I use my moves and my body? But all of that is foundation. That's kind of what I want to make sure I get across. Yeah.
So it means that every teacher will have kind of like different foundations.
Maybe this isn't something that a lot of my foundations is something that I would teach. I think I'm more talking to everybody that when you spend time alone in the mirror, create your foundation, like identify it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like my left leg is stronger than my right. I want to use that. Like that's going to be my foundation. I may not teach that ever, but that's something that's important for me to distinguish, because I don't want to dance like somebody else. I want to dance like me. And if you want to go to a battle and stand out, the only way you do that is by researching yourself and not just researching everybody else in the world that's good and putting them on a pedestal and being like, this is their foundation, I have to copy that. Like they do X amount of moves and I do me plus X amount of moves. Like that's what makes the difference. I don't know. We don't get stuck on this. It's just something I wanted to point out.
I was just like stopping and thinking a bit, because it's nice, because you hear that when you're like some people. I mean, when you hear that people teaching foundations. So what we're talking about when we talk like teaching about foundations, that was
like this is the homework that you need to do after you learn a lot of this foundation from locking, right? You need to go to your mirror by yourself and just like figure this out. Why? Like I remember practicing once around Dennis and I was like, how come I can't do my paces like him? I'm so confused because it's such an easy move and I'm trying to match him while he's drilling and I cannot do it. I don't understand. So what I realize is he has longer limbs than me because I'm short as fuck. So I had to like change my timing to match how he looked. Right. And that was like a huge realization for me, because I really look up to Dennis, but I was like, how come I can't look like him? I'm like, well, he's like a foot taller than me. So I had to learn about my body, because now I'm less about, how can I say this? I focus more on speed than I do strength in my dance, because that's what my body says to do if I want it to match the music the way I hear it.
I
Right?
love that.
Like I have to use minute movement and then speed to extend my arms or my limbs. I have to like use speed instead of strength.
Hmm.
So that's more what I mean about identifying your foundation.
Okay. So I'm going to translate that a little bit. Espero más o menos que estén entendiendo qué es lo que estamos hablando, porque estamos hablando de los fundamentos. Entonces, estamos reflexionando alrededor de estos conceptos. Y nos lleva, él llama de la necesidad de conocernos como bailarines y entender nuestro cuerpo, cómo funcionan nuestras mecánicas de cuerpo. Él dice que se comparaba y miraba, dice, ¿por qué mi pacing es distinto al de Dennis? Pero dice, bueno, porque él tiene brazos súper largos, yo no tengo, yo soy más corto. Entonces es también un poco de darse cuenta de lo que uno tiene, de lo que uno es, de lo que uno puede usar. Entonces eso también hace a tus fundamentos, conocerte bien. Y bueno, estamos como reflexionando alrededor de estos conceptos. Good. So, just like smart dancing. She says.
Yeah, Keegan, I feel like you're tall. I don't know why. Well, I mean, yeah, sure. Like, short people. Yay. But I feel like you're way taller than me. And I think I'm the same size as you say.
Right. Let's travel a little bit. How many countries have you visited? Like different countries that you visited? Tell me.
Shoot.
Because of locking.
Because of locking. Man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm only 5'6". Only. Those 2 inches matter, bro.
I'm 5'7".
Oh,
I'm
man.
5'6",
See,
5'7". Yeah, I'm around
that height range, I think, is like the perfect for locking. Anyway.
Right. So you teach in? Did you teach in China?
Yeah, I taught there for about 4 or 5 months in a college.
Enseñó en China por 5 meses. So, tell me about your experience teaching that. Like, what was things that you saw, things that like came like, wow, okay, you get surprised, maybe like cultural obstacles that you find where you were teaching?
Yeah.
Maybe. Tell me about that.
Just to give a little background on it, I taught at CMA. It was a lot of like high school and college students, so it's that age range, right? So it's like a college but for the arts, and they hire on like 4 to 6 international teachers to teach, street dance. That's like one of their focuses. And so there can be like up to like 50 people in my class, like 9 times a week or something. It was pretty crazy. And the skill level to me was just so high of, the talent and mimicking. Like if you tell them to do this, they'll do it. Like, and they'll drill it to the ends of the earth. Some cultural issues that I had teaching there, because I like to be able to teach about the history, like not just about my history, but what I believe and know the history of the dance to be, right? Because if I pass the dance forward, I need to also pass at least the notion of history to somebody, because I think that's important. Like if I felt like I was teaching the next generation of Chinese dancers, especially Chinese lockers, and I want them to know certain things about the dance. And some of them didn't really know who Don Campbell was, so that it sucks, but that could be an easy answer. You can just tell them about him, and like this is where the dance came from. But you know, they didn't know things about America. They didn't know about like they didn't know about how hip hop came about, right? They didn't know it came from like African Americans struggling and, you know, having a terrible time in America. Like a lot of us know the history behind that, but they didn't. So I actually had to have a few classes talking about, you know, black slavery in that era because they didn't know about it. Like that hip hop came about because music was one of the ways that people would communicate with each other. Things like that. Like to know that the dance came from like people being smashed down and it was a way to stand up to the man. They didn't have any notion of that because it's also what they go through, and they had no notion that they could stand up to their own government. Well, it's whatever. That's their own thing. But that to me was like not understanding at all where the dance comes from. But it's also because they have no that type of history is wiped from their history, and it's like it's scary to me that a whole culture that's all about this dance, all about hip hop and popping and locking, don't know anything about one of the worst parts of American history that bred and led to the creation of the dances we do today.
Wow. Le pregunto, cuando estuve enseñando en China, por ejemplo, en Asia, ¿cuáles fueron como las barreras culturales tal vez a las cuales él se enfrentó a la hora de enseñar? Y él habla de que estuvo en este programa para estudiantes high school, debe ser como secundaria, debe ser ahí, porque nosotros lo vemos en la secundaria, un altísimo nivel de danza de los alumnos, casi 50 alumnos, decía que enseñaba, mucho talento, todo lo que él le pedía lo hacían. El nivel de ejecución, la práctica, todo excelente. Ahora dice que él tuvo que invertir mucho tiempo para enseñar la historia de la danza, lo que está detrás de la danza que hacemos. De que no tenía ni idea quién era Don Campbell, no sabían de lo que tuvo que pasar, lo que se tuvo que pasar en Estados Unidos para que, digamos, por lo que después pasó la danza, de dónde salió la danza. No sabían que de la cultura afroamericana, de todo lo que implicó, digamos, por todo lo que pasaron las comunidades negras allá. Entonces, él tuvo que invertir tiempo en hablar de eso y se sorprendía de que en un país de que son re manija, con todo el popping y el hip hop y el locking y todo esto, no tenían idea de estas nociones, de esta historia, de esto, de lo que está por detrás de la danza. Entonces, bueno, él hizo la inversión de tiempo para explicar de esto. Did you see like any change afterwards, or after they knew the history behind the moves,
Yeah.
or behind the dance?
So there's a couple of things that they realized, right? They realized they had the wrong idea about African Americans, black people in general, because that's what their parents and their government taught them. You know, like to them, they were just in a way idolizing black people, but also being like kind of like scared in a way. Like that's just a part of what they were taught. At least I'm talking about the kids. They don't, you know, they're learning now. They don't really know any better. So there was like the realization that they didn't know things about the history. They didn't know about things like slavery, and then they didn't realize how much the government was keeping from them in like their history books about other parts of the world because they realized this is important. And also after like learning from me, I think they had a little bit, some of my students, the ones that are really close to me, had a little bit more open mind about learning about people and traveling instead of just like, you know, what's around me. Because I think that's important too, right? Like, we're all big fish in a little pond, right? So go to the ocean, like everyone needs to. That's where we meet. And like so, something I just remembered, I had three students, three girl students that I remember. I was just teaching them. I was telling them in my class, do a variation of a scoop bot, and then you teach me because I taught you mine. Like I'm a student too. Like please teach me, and let's just all work on it for a while, right? I remember those three in particular, like 30 minutes in, broke down crying because they were like, I can't do it any other way. Because
Mm.
they just drilled the shit out of that move for like 2 years. And I'm not even stressing, like 2 years. That's how they did the scoop lot. They did it one way with one cadence. Like everything always had to move 100% all the time. It was never like my left leg can relax right now. It was nothing. Like these just could not do it any other way. So they were really good about following what was taught and drilling it like forever. Like, Lady C from Canada, she was the teacher before me, the locking teacher before me, and she's a great teacher. And she teaches, especially back then, a lot of like foundational moves and drilling. And that's what they did. That's what they took from her. That's obviously that's not how she dances, like, but that's what they took, and they just kept doing that for forever. And that to me just kind of showed that they didn't have any inner expression, like no question about should I do this differently? This music sounds different. Can I do it in a different way to the music? Like no questions like that. It was just that's the foundation. Do it. Like that's kind of what I was referring
Mm.
to earlier, right? Like if they identify just these things that were taught and everyone just does these foundations and they don't consider like or question things, how can I do it my way, then they just won't. Like I know it's easy for us to talk about us as dancers, especially like maybe we have a lot of good people around us to like show us or like expose us to like how we can express ourselves, or they express themselves so I can express myself. But yeah, there's the Asian mentality where everyone does it like person A. Everyone does it like person A. So it doesn't always go without saying like, yes, dance is expression, because to them dance was just what your body does.
Mm.
Yeah, Asian mentality of dance is very different. I 100% agree. And I still have trouble like kind of like shifting it up or changing it because I like to take a lot of different perspectives of my own life. Like I'm Asian, I'm American, I'm Asian American, and I have a lot of different influences around me in my life and the music that I listen to, whether that's American R&B, punk, funk, or like Japanese music. Like all of that is me, and that's what made me listen to music the way I do, and that's important for me to know. They don't party at all. Oh, they do. Beer's cheap there. They definitely party there. Um, they were awkward. Yeah, they were awkward. Awkward parties.
Ah, good, I'm going to translate that. La pregunta fue, si vio alguna diferencia una vez que les enseñó a sus estudiantes allá de dónde venía toda esta historia, si vio alguna diferencia en el antes y el después. Y habla de esta historia de las tres estudiantes que vienen, y él le pide a ellas, enséñame 3 variaciones del squat, porque dice, yo también soy alumno, quiero que vos me enseñes a mí. Y dice que después de un tiempo no pudieron, se largan a llorar las chicas y ellas le dicen, no puedo hacer otra variación de lo que yo ya sé. ¿Y por qué había pasado? Porque Lady C, que es una chica de Canadá, les había enseñado antes a hacer una forma y ellos lo tomaron a eso y religiosamente se lo quedaron así. Es el foundation, es el fundamento, no lo cambiaron. Y él habla de esto, de la reflexión, que dice que no tienen el cuestionamiento, lo que él vio de esa falta de cuestionamiento a cómo lo haces vos, ¿me entendés? Escuchás, la música te está produciendo otra cosa, pero vos sin embargo no, eso no le das pelota y lo seguís haciendo de la misma forma que te lo enseñaron. Ahí está el fundamento, no se cambia, no se toca, ¿viste? Y él habla de como la mentalidad asiática, lo nombran ellos junto con la reflexión que pone Keegan ahí en los comentarios. Y Lil-B dice, como ellos lo piensan, es como que danza es lo que tu cuerpo hace. No está ese cuestionamiento interno. Pero bueno, formas distintas de la cultura, digamos. Por eso también mi pregunta va para cómo él lo vio, digamos. So it was like this difference was mainly like when you were in Asia, because in all the countries you were more like closer maybe to your culture or your where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's especially, I don't want to hound on them too much, but I think it's just because of Chinese government and how they're treating their new generation, right? Like, they just they don't have any access to stuff like we do. Like, it's literally in my history books. We have to learn about it. But even if I didn't, it's something I can go on YouTube or go online and learn about. They may not have had that option. So, this is more than just dance. This is like a political, cultural
Yeah.
issue
No,
problem.
of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. I was just like curious about that. Like,
Yeah.
because it's a different thing like going and compete over there and then to
Hmm.
teach,
Yes. Oh,
it's a
yes.
different
Very
experience.
different. Yeah. My first time in Beijing, I was battling there at KOD, Keep on Dancing, like 2011, I think. That's when I entered with Firelock, and then we had a whole Team USA that was there for all the categories. And yeah, man, like, the pedestaling of dancers, especially from, if they're from America or something, like, it's crazy. It's just crazy how much they were like, oh my God, you're Firelock and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I look like them, so they're not talking to me. They thought I was a translator for fucking 3 days. So I'm watching them. I'm watching Firelock, and all my friends just kind of like get blown up. Like, can I take a picture with you? And I just chill until they see me on stage.
You got greetings over
Oh,
there from Philippines.
yo, look. Oh, dude, yeah. Like, we're talking about China and everything, and that was hard. It's just kind of, it's like a little bit expected that it's gonna be like, but at the same time, it's still very surprising, and that's what they say culture shock is, right? But like when I went to the Philippines, like it's like 6 years ago, man, that community, like I was like, this is gonna be hot shit. Like they're great. Like I'm just like trying to boost my culture, but when I went there, I was super surprised at how well the community already was, the level of the talent I had saw. Like, because I know a couple of them when I first visited, they only been dancing for like maybe a few years or something, but I was like, yo, they're hungry. And that to me was so different than what I saw in different places, right? Like very different when I feel in like America sometimes. They're not hungry, like I can take a dance class. I'm privileged. Like it feels like that. I'm not saying that's everyone's mentality, but when you're in a place that doesn't have access to the things that you want and you imagine it's everyday, like I can go out to the streets and I can just go dance with someone. That's what people imagine America to be. You may not be wrong. It's not exactly right, but there's a hunger that feeds from feeling that you're missing out. And I don't know, man. And I went 2 years ago back to the Philippines, and I was like, right, like they took what I thought was high level already, and they freaking like went through the roof, like amazing. And it's not just with locking; it's like with hip hop in general. Um, I heard from Lima from All Stars, Philippine All Stars. Like she told me that in the couple of recent years, instead of the Philippines emulating and mimicking what they thought American hip hop was, they understood the message of what hip hop was. And it was like
Whoa.
rising above, right? Like fighting the power. And she feels like as a community, they just did it. They finally started doing it for themselves instead of emulating what they think it's supposed to be from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and whatever they're missing out on. Instead of missing out on it, they're doing their hip hop. And I know some people can say there might be a little bit of ignorance and arrogance to that, but from what I experienced, like this to me is my people expressing themselves through the message of hip hop instead of it has to be this way or that way. And yeah, I don't know, man. Philippines is hot shit right now, and
Ah,
they really are. Man, there's a bunch of dancers there that I'd like to shout out, but they fucking check them out
do it, do
seriously.
it, do it, do it. Shut up. Come on. Give
Like
names.
from my crew is James Wong, Good Luck. There's Ian over there, like Luxley is here. there's two Luigis in the Philippines, like you really keep an eye on. They're fucking tight. Um, yeah, Prince was the first person I met from the Philippines, 2007, Hip Hop International, Zumba instructor. No, he's like amazing. But his locking is super top tier too. He's the one that helped breed a lot of like the dance. Yeah, Luigi Flores. He's one of them. Yeah, like seriously, I seriously give it up to the Philippines. Like even right now, they're really getting into light feet, and man, they're like getting it. Like when I see them, it makes me want to gig because like I only get that in New York, right? When I see people do it here, I'm like, eh. But I see in the Philippines, I'm like, yo, like I want to like chant, and get off, and fucking flip out. Like it's cool. Like they really do understand like taking it in a way that they can express themselves and be the message that they understand it to be, if that makes
No.
sense.
Habla de cómo, de su experiencia en las Filipinas, de donde él viene, como fue hace 6 años y vio todo el hambre, las ganas de crecer en el locking. Y bueno, hizo su trabajo ahí y se volvió hace 2 años atrás y dice que lo que vio, cómo crecieron, fue increíble y bueno, lo vuelve súper orgulloso, digamos, y a su vez hace esta reflexión de que ellos, en vez de emular lo mismo de los 80, por así decirte, algo del pasado, entendieron en realidad el mensaje de qué se trata. Y eso es lo que difunden, eso es lo que hacen. Entonces hacen que, a pesar de que tienen sus propios sabores, obviamente siguen haciendo locking, siguen haciendo hip hop, pero tienen ese sabor único de ellos porque entendieron el mensaje. Y eso, él habla de cómo que se vuelve orgulloso de la forma en que ellos se expresan a través del hip hop. Dice, no solamente en el locking, habla de que están subiendo el level en otros estilos también. Y habla del life fit, cómo se receba cuando los ve hacer ahí. Y bueno, y nombró la serie de nombres, que dice que hay un montón de bailarinas que lo reinspiran en las Filipinas, y dije, dale nomás, decir los nombres, ahí los dijo. Y bueno, remanija. When you were talking about the Philippines, it made me think about Argentina, like the people there, how they're so hungry to like learn, and when you said when you are in a country that's really like far away from the source, maybe, you know, or the knowledge, it's hard, like, but I think it's that thing when you're like hungry to do something, you find the ways, right, and then you just like, you fight for it. Yes. And then that it will be seen in your dance at some point as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you recognize your own hunger, no matter where you're from, right? Whatever privilege or non-privileges you have, whatever you can identify that hunger as and how you feed it really makes your dance. Because you as a person, as a dancer, you're always wanting. And I think if you find a way to get those wants, especially if they're good-minded, you'll really come up on top.
Yeah, there are people from Argentina watching. They're like, yeah. I said, like, if we all practice, become our foundation, a Vivo turn locker, as a way of locking. Have you seen what Travel Lock said?
Oh. Oop. How do I? If all we practice becomes our foundation, a b-boy turn locker has the way of locking versus a Chinese folk dancer turn locker. In your opinion, I've never seen it before. IYO, how do we balance that versus looking like the originals? Hold on, I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Trouble is causing trouble.
Yeah, trouble is causing trouble.
Right, so just like going to the end, because we've been talking a lot, and I mean, it's so, like, I can like just carry on talking, and the people, like, it seems like they're loving it. If you go any questions, guys, girls, just drop some questions, feel free to participate. Yeah. También lo pueden hacer en español, si tienen alguna pregunta, escríbanla en español, la traduzco para él, no hay ningún problema. Let's go to a different field now. What is being an dance event consultant, if you pronounce it that way?
Yes, dance event consulting. So dance event consulting is what I've been wanting to get into for a couple of years. And it mostly stems from entering a lot of terrible battles and going to a lot of bad events because, and like also good events, but a lot of it really stems from the bad ones for me because I've entered a lot of things, or I've all over the world, right? Like I've been, you guys know, but me wanting to be a dance consultant was just like wanting to help out with people who are already doing it. I didn't really care at the beginning for making money through it. It was just about how can I help organizers think about things that they kind of didn't prior to me talking to them, right? Because for me as a dancer and as an organizer, I always think about the event from different people's perspectives, right? Like who is the audience, who is the dancers, who's the judges, why am I picking them, who's the DJs, why am I picking them, what's my repertoire, like how do I talk with them, like how do we know each other, why do I know that they're good, little things like that. But to me the big one is audience, your participants, like the people that are coming just to watch, because if they're all just dancers, then we're failing at bringing in the new generation. If I say this a lot, but I got really tired of by dancers for dancers events. Done with it. Tired. Like, sure we can have that sometimes, but like that's our party. Like let's party together because that's our party. Like we're it's like we're alumni of high school. We should just go party together. But what you need to do is think about how to bring in the new generation, non-dancers, the regular folk, I guess. And I feel like we haven't done the best job that we can. Specifically, I'm talking about like California and in America in general. Like, it's just so many. If I throw an event, I can name you 100 people that will be there, and I could guess there would be maybe like 5 or 10 non-dancers that will come through, and that sucks. I would love it if I knew the competitors that were coming, and I sold like 1,000 tickets, but they're not. They're all like families and non-dancers and stuff, because that to me is a win, because you're hoping to help inspire people to come to our dance classes or come to more of our events, come to our ciphers. So that's one of the big reasons I wanted to get into consulting, because it's about how to help think about those things, how to help think about bringing in new people instead of basically just a party for my friends again and again and again. And now it's your turn to throw a party for all of our friends again. And like, stop. And it's not just about having classes either. It's about having these jams be a place where it's very inviting to come to, because I can just come as a non-dancer and just experience it. I can watch and just be inspired. I don't feel any pressure to have to be in your class when I don't feel like I'm good enough, or whatever the feeling is. We all seen how people react to like coming to dance events. But to me, jams, battles, performances, or a mix of those things is where we can really like invite those people into our doors. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of the big passion of where me wanting to be a consultant comes from. Like when I go to people's events, I try to like give feedback, even if, you know, like no matter what my role was, if I was like a staff or I was a competitor or I just came to come watch, like I'll give feedback because I want your next one to be better. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot already.
Le pregunto qué sería ser un how can I translate that, like dance consultant? La persona como el consultante. Dang, like the translator. La persona como consultante de danza sería, pero por el aspecto de que él dice que está cansado de ir a eventos donde, digamos, él experienciándolo desde bailarín, ha experienciado buenos eventos como también otros no tan buenos, digamos. Y a él le gustaría, digamos, como explorar más y desarrollarse más en el área de él ser el que ayuda a la gente que organiza eventos. ¿Por qué? Porque él cuando organiza un evento, porque él también ha organizado eventos, lo ve desde todas las perspectivas, desde los diferentes ángulos, no solamente desde el bailarín, sino también desde la perspectiva del DJ, la perspectiva de la audiencia, y sobre la audiencia remarca el punto de que está cansado de eventos de bailarines para bailarines. Que está bueno que ocurre eso, pero ¿qué pasa? Si solamente nos centramos en ese tipo de eventos y no abrimos la audiencia para el público en general, ¿qué hablamos del público en general? Familias, gente que tal vez no son todavía bailarines, gente que solamente disfruta de ir a ver. ¿Cuál es el problema? Nos cerramos en el círculo de bailarines para bailarines y se va cerrando cada vez más eso. Entonces él dice que está faltando el tipo de evento que abre las posibilidades para el público en general. A lo que él le llama las nuevas generaciones, porque ese tipo de evento inspira a la gente a después, por ejemplo, ir a tomar una clase de baile o participar más en la comunidad. Entonces, es un trabajo también como a futuro. De ese tipo de eventos siembran semillas también y hace que después la comunidad sea más grande, al fin y al cabo. Pero todo eso, digamos, es un proceso, y él lo que le gustaría hacer es ayudar a este tipo de personas que arman eventos, así sea grandes o pequeños, para llegar a ese tipo de objetivos. I was just like thinking if you have like a system, like when it comes to the
like
service.
actually consulting.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like usually I like to start out with just like getting updated to like what planning has been going on with the events. Oh, what's up, yo? Oh, the Hawaii in the house. Oh, Hawaii's another place. So I like to usually just ask about, what you're already thinking about doing for your event. Like what's in your head, and like what ideas do you have and what you're trying to bring out. And I like to ask a lot of questions about why. Like, why are you doing that? Not so much how and who and stuff, but why. And I think that's really important to ask yourself as an organizer. Why am I doing this? Why am I hiring this judge? Why do I want it all styles? Right? And I think a lot of people don't really have good answers for that right away. They'll say like, oh, because everyone does all styles, it's easy to bring people in the door. I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, that, yes, but what about that one person that's really focusing on locking right now? You're including them, but you're also potentially stifling their jam growth because you're not really thinking about your rules. You're not saying, I want to throw this because I want all the dancers to have free reign to do their dance to the DJ's choice of music. Or I want to throw a house music battle, but you all do your own styles. Right? Like defining those things helps everybody, no matter what your skill level is, right? Like you want it to be all inclusive, even to the competitors. I'll ask things like, how are you doing your prelims? Are you seeding people for top 16, top 32, or whatever? Do you have brackets ready? Are you thinking about brackets? And to me, it's sad that I even have to ask that, but I've been to events where people don't seed correctly, or they don't think about the rules, and maybe I get kicked out of it early because someone didn't set it up properly. We're just going to pull everyone's names out of the hat because it's better. It's random. I'm like, no, it's not, because that means your finals footage is going to be garbage because you're going to have one really good person and someone who probably shouldn't be in the finals. Like, it's important to think about these things for the longevity of your events, how it's seen after it happens, and how it helps people who are non-dancers watch and see the best rise to the top, right? And then see the best go at it. Like, that's super important. Like, if you watch the NBA finals, you know that they went through hell to get there. Like, you don't have to see the whole journey. You just know because that's in the rules of how they set up their league. And dancers don't really think about that or do that. I like to think that there's a bare minimum that you can have to throw an event, right? It's not even a good event, just a bare minimum. And I feel like a lot of people focus on the bare minimum for like maybe it's like 6-7 topics of bare minimum. And then maybe they just leave one or two out of it. Maybe they didn't think about it. They didn't think about where's the audience sitting or where's the audience. You know what I mean? Like it's something as simple as that. Do you have chairs for elderly? Because I would like to bring my mom to come to watch this. She would love to come, but I know it's an 8-hour event and she's gonna be bored. So no, I'm not bringing her. But oh, it's a quick 3-hour event? Fuck yeah, I'm bringing her. Like that's a good deal. Things like that. It's important to think about who can I invite because you put it in your jam. Like, are you thinking about these things? So that's what I like to talk about or like ask. Because it's kind of easy to see from talking to someone who's throwing an event, like what lapses of judgment or what they haven't thought about yet. If that makes
Mm,
sense. Like maybe they haven't talked to their DJ about like this is the theme that I want for my event. Like I imagine it to be a lot of R&B, and that's what I want my dancers to be dancing to, or something. Just anything. Just talk to them about it because they're the ones who are gonna help your event look good, right? And I believe like as the organizer, you and the MC need to be like that. Like you guys need to be on the same page because the MC is your voice to everybody. And they have to be speaking your language and what you're trying to accomplish and who you're trying to reach. Are they delegating all the rules correctly and all that? They're not just someone who keeps the time and makes sure you're on schedule.
mm,
Like that's bare
claro.
minimum, right? Don't focus on
Mm,
bare minimum. You as the MC, it's your party. I can only party to 200% if the MC is partying to 200%. But if they're just like, next up is and then they're just like waiting for the next battle to finish, that's as excited as I can be, honestly. Because if you're not like thrilled about watching whoever's dancing right now, then I'm not thrilled. I don't give a fuck if you don't give a fuck. Like you have to care. So again, that's like organizers to talk to their MC, and like I always say to my MCs, this is your party. Like literally, this is your birthday right now. You do what you want because the audience can only know as much as you do. So you do that, please.
estamos hablando si le pregunto si tiene, por ejemplo, un sistema, o si alguna vez pensó como en un sistema de ser un aconsejante de creadores de eventos. Y él dice que primero va a preguntar por qué haces esto, por qué haces aquello, te va a llenar de preguntas en realidad. Y por qué ese juez, por qué esa categoría de competencia, por qué ese DJ, los por qué. Entonces dice que no mucha gente sabe el por qué hace las cosas. Y ahí empiezan las fallas. Digamos, le pregunta por qué esto y no sé, porque alguien lo hizo o porque me parece. Entonces, trabajando los motivos, primero sería trabajar con los motivos de los organizadores, el por qué se hacen las cosas, eso que estamos hablando. Después la otra cosa son los detalles, digamos, los detalles que van a hacer a tu evento. Si vos te conformas con hacer lo mínimo que funciona, y bueno, así va a salir tu evento, digamos, ese es su punto de vista, digamos. Detalles como los asientos. Hoy por hoy si estamos pensando en que queremos llegar a más audiencia, tenemos que pensar en qué tan largo va a ser el evento. Si va a ser 8 horas el evento, y bueno, y ya la señora, mi abuela, no se va a bancar 8 horas en el evento. Si va a ser 4 horas el evento, y bueno, a lo mejor sí se lo banca. Tengo asientos y la distribución alocada para todo tipo de público, para gente grande, para gente más joven, también podemos hablar de personas con otras limitaciones. La comunicación con el DJ, él habla de qué tipo de música querés, o sea, no lo dejes librado al azar esas cosas, hablalas y ten claro qué es lo que querés. Volvemos al principio de lo que él marcaba. La unión con el MC, con el que va a estar hosteando el evento, dice, tienen que ser tu mayor, hace esta seña, tu mayor aliado, el MC, porque es el que te levanta, el que te lleva a la fiesta. Entonces dice, él dice, yo siempre le digo a mi MC, es tu cumpleaños, haz lo que quieras. Tiene que haber un entendimiento, porque si vas solamente a estar anunciando algo, un embole. Pero bueno, todos como esos detalles en los que él los trabaja cuando va a dar o trabajar en consejo con alguien que va a poner un evento. detalles totalmente importantísimos, digamos. Right, so I think we are close to the end because we've been talking for a lot, and there's a lot of things I want to carry on talking, like group mechanics. How you pronounce like your crew with Firelock and Hurricane?
No, unorthodox.
Unorthodox. Yeah.
So it's like unorthodox, but unorthodox. And my other crew is Dance Over Styles. That's
How
the
is
one
it?
that I Dance Over Styles. So
Dance
over styles. Yeah. I'm still
Just
looking
like
at Trouble's question.
What?
I'm still looking at Trouble's question from a while back. But
Oh, Trouble, you have to like make it again, that question.
I know. Is he still
If
there?
you guys have any other
No.
questions?
Oh, he is. I'll just say, like, to that question, if we all practice becomes our foundation, B-boy term, how do we balance that versus looking like the originals? Again, I think it's how you define the word foundation for yourself. Like, define what you want it to look like, whether that means you're comparing yourself to others existing right now, like my peers of dancers, or am I comparing myself to a 30-year-old Don Campbell? Like, I don't actually know what that looks like, but I could do that, or I can compare to what it looks like now. Like, it's just define what you need it to be, what you want it to be. Like, if you can identify that I'm a b-boy and I already kind of carry myself in a certain way, do I want to maintain that, or do I want that to change? Because that means you're going to change your foundation, your foundational movement, not just I change my foundation from a 6-step to a muscle man lock. It means I change my foundation of how I walk as a b-boy to I change my foundation of how I walk as a locker. It's very different, and it's your mannerisms, your personality, but most importantly mannerisms. Like, what are you carrying in? What are you cultivating for yourself? Like, personality, character, soul is not things you're born with. It's like a muscle. Like, you work it out and it gets stronger, it gets bigger, it gets better. But you have to define that, right? Like, if I want my core to be stronger, I know what exercises to do. If I want my foundation walk as a locker to be better, I'll figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not about like what looking like originals, we can say all that, sure, but it's really like, define what that is to you. I like this sort of locker walk, so I'm going to walk like that. I like this kind of attitude, so I'm going to walk like that. Not I'm going to be that attitude, but how do you incorporate that into your foundational practice?
Nice.
If that makes sense.
So I will take you back in time, and this is going to be the closing. Eh? Sure. When you're born, no, I'm joking. Okay. This we can answer that question, then I take you back. Okay. How would you balance your technique to your soul? ¿Cómo balanceas la técnica con el soul?
It's kind of like that Bruce Lee quote, right? Like, you master all the styles, then you become the master of no style, or something like that. You basically you drill the hell out of something, right? You create your technique. You have it all down pat. Like, if I throw a point, it's going to be as straight as I want it, or it's going to be as, however my body position needs to be. It's my muscle memory is just there, right? But maybe there's no thinking behind it. There's no soul, and that's okay. It's kind of like practicing a Hadouken and Fireball. Just get it down good. Just know how to do it, and then when it comes, you need to apply it. So the reason I say that is because it's the same route that I took. My first 3 years, drill. Then I went to go dance, and none of that drilling came out. None of it. I didn't look clean. I looked like, I was just a character. I didn't practice those things. But when I really started, trying to apply my drilling to my dance, that's when the soul started to come out. And the reason I say that is because I started to find myself instead of listening to that message of be yourself. Like, I know that's what we say, be yourself, but that's like the overarching, we say that to everybody, right? But if I'm talking to someone directly, find yourself. Like, fuck that, be yourself, because a lot of people don't know who that is. Be yourself. Does that mean be who you think I should be, or what society tells me to be? Like, what is it? What is being me? Like, I don't know. You don't know. or maybe you have an idea, but you have to find that and cultivate that. Expressing your feelings. Yes. But a lot of people don't know what that means.
Yeah.
If I grew up thinking I'm not supposed to express myself, I'm not supposed to cry, I'm not supposed to be angry, how can I express myself? You have to ask yourself those questions, find those things. And I think that's to get back to the question. Once you have the technique inside your body, the muscle memory, you throw it away. And then now, whatever your mind wants to do, whatever it thinks and feels to do, your body can do it. If that makes sense. Like you prepare your body to do what your mind thinks. It's not the other way around. Like I don't start going and then my mind tells it, hey, slow down or figure it out. Like, no, like, yeah. That's dance though. Yeah.
Le preguntan el balance, con respecto a la pregunta entre la técnica y el balance, y habla de que nada, que primero tenés que entrenar una banda, y entrenar, pero también que eso se haga memoria muscular a futuro. Y que a veces normalmente, digamos, cuando estás entrenando no vas a tener esa alma, ese soul. Muchas veces pasa que cuando estás entrenando no conectas por ese lado. Se va para el lado de que obviamente el soul tiene que ver con las emociones y con los sentimientos, también como habla esto de expresarse, pero dice, también es muy relativo eso, porque una persona puede crecer en una cultura o en una historia de vida donde le recuesta expresar los sentimientos. Entonces él hace esta reflexión de la frase be yourself, con el be lo pone a find yourself, que sería encontrate a vos mismo. Entonces en ese encuentro ya es otra historia, es una búsqueda personal y nada, y el hecho de, digamos, de vos haber practicado mucho la técnica en su momento, eso se vuelve memoria muscular, y entonces en el momento que vos estés bailando, eso va a salir, y va a salir, digamos, cuando vos te dejas llevar, va a salir del saborcito acorde a lo que estés sintiendo en ese momento, pero eso no va a salir por sí solo si no hay práctica también, por el otro lado, digamos, entonces un balance de las dos cosas, digamos. So back in my question, like going back in time, let's close with how many times you met Don Campbell? Because I've seen pictures.
Oh man, I've seen him. I met him a lot of times. I think actually the first time I went to Hip Hop International when it was in Los Angeles before it moved to Las Vegas was the first time that I met him. And I'd only been dancing for less than a year, and I obviously knew who he was. I was so surprised to meet him, and I remember just telling him, thank you for this dance, thank you for giving me something to do. Like I wasn't very well deep into it yet, but it's kind of like, this is cool, it's inspiring, it's great to meet you. And he said the same thing that he said to me that he said to me the most recent time that I saw him, and he said, just keep being you, keep it locking. Right? Like that was always his message. And that was, for me, 2007. So in the 13 years of knowing him, his message never changed. I mean, sometimes he would say, like, I like what you're doing. And like, I was like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, oh, sorry, that's my Google. I should unplug that. That's my work stuff. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I miss him. I miss him a lot because I was seeing him a lot more the most recent years. But I think I saw him at least once a year. At least. Yeah, for like the last 13 years that I've known him. I was really lucky that, I live in California and I'm close to people that are also close to Don and his family. And that's how I got closer to him. Tiffany Bong in Los Angeles was one of like, I don't know, it's like one of his daughters basically in the dance scene because she helped take care of him, and she always brought him to her own classes that she was hosting in the same city that he lived in. Like he had him involved in the youth. Like 9 to 12-year-olds would be performing locking for Dawn that they were learning in school. Like, it's incredible, right? Like, and he loved that stuff. He loved just seeing anybody do his dance. It didn't matter where you were, what your background was, because to him, I'm pretty sure he was just like, my dance was not supposed to go anywhere. It was just kind of something he did. And then, I remember something that I heard in one of the early hip hop internationals I went to was like, when we do this, we do a Muscle Man, when we put our fists up, like, they said that to them back in the day, it meant brotherhood, right? It meant like, and fight the power and stuff, right? But it's crazy to see now that this message is global. It's everywhere. It's like something that we all stand together. It's not just one person or one group of people needing to fight this. Like, we all kind of stand for it, which is why it's important, again, to know your history. Why do I put this up? Why do I do a Muscle Man, right? What can it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean for someone like Dawn? Like, I feel like people were quick to just, thank the person that made the dance, the dancer that made the dance. But, for my crew, for Unorthodox and Groove Mechanics, like, what I remember, what I think of him is the struggles he went through, the hardships he went through. All of you know what it's like to be a locker and feel like you're the only fucking locker in the building. And it sucks sometimes. Like, yes, you can be proud of it, but a lot of times you feel like, I'm the only one here. Imagine being a person doing your dance that has no name, and you're the only one doing it. And it doesn't feel good all the time, but it's all you do. It's all you know. That's what he carried with him. That's the kind of shit that he went through so I could do this. So I could be proud to do this. Because he went through so many days of not being proud, not being sure, getting screwed over from Hollywood, like all of these things, your friends, your family, like, yeah, feel like a geek. Like, there's so much that he went through that I can't even imagine. We know some stories, but I know to be strong, to say a message like he said, to be you, is because he went through so much shit to be able to say be you, and it's worth it in the end. Like, remember the things that you feel like he went through so that you can carry that. His message was to be you. Find that, right? And it's not just be you because you're lucky. It's be you because so many people before you went through things so that you can struggle too, but you can enjoy your struggles or whatever it is. Like, yeah. And Don's the man. Like Unorthodox, like we strive to make sure that we continue his legacy. And that's just beyond if we have family blessing or not. Like, we're close to his family, but like, to us, Don's the one. Like, we'll never like sway from that. He's our one.
You can, as it says, you can tell
he was yeah.
You go for it.
Yeah, you can tell he was mentally strong despite being laughed at a lot. He still continued. And stories of a small bit of having to go through it, he was powerful for doing that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think like power and strength is something that you cultivate. You don't know strength until you feel weak. Yeah. Don't just give the easy props. And I mean that for everything. And I even mean it especially for Don. Don't give the easy props. Feel that. Feel what he went through. Feel what like all the dancers around you go through. Like, we don't have to give the easy props. Nice jam. Good job. Like, say the hard shit. Think of the hard shit. Think of like when it didn't feel good to be throwing this event. Think of when it felt not good, not being recognized by Michael Jackson's staff. Like, think of the hard shit. Don't just give the easy props to what went well and how strong someone was because of it. Acknowledge the hurt. That's what makes you stronger. Acknowledge your hurt. That's how you find you. It's not just express yourself. You kind of have to ask yourself some questions.
It's kind of like so hard I translate such beautiful words. So like, I just want to like leave it like that.
I mean, you can just do what Don did. Just say be you, keep it locking.
Bueno, estaba reflexionando obviamente de todo lo que le es para él Don Campbell. Y bueno, me es un poco como complicado poner en palabras porque él lo dice de una manera tan linda que no lo quiero como tapar. Pero creo que lo que está marcando es la importancia de entender todo el dolor tal vez que, que Don tenía, digamos, por el hecho de que se le hayan reído, por el hecho de haber sido diferente, que con todo lo que eso conlleva, que digamos cuando él hace esto del símbolo de brotherhood, de alianza, de poder negro, que hoy por hoy es algo que lo hacemos todos por todo el mundo, digamos, cómo se volvió algo global que, y digamos, es lo que él menciona de ser uno mismo también significa reconocer tu dolor, reconocer tus luchas y, y salir adelante y seguir haciendo lo que haces y ser vos mismo. Eso también tiene que ver con el dolor y con la parte negativa o la parte de mierdas que podamos estar lidiando. Entonces, se emociona él cuando habla de sus reflexiones sobre Don, nos hace emocionar, digamos, por esto, y la gente comparte también en los comentarios de, de, de lo que Don tal vez vivió en ese momento. Y, y bueno, I, I just like I can't translate it. I just like I don't know if I want to translate what you said because it's beautiful, but it's hard like get the same spirit. But hopefully people got it. And I will let that to close. If you wanted to say a closing in or something, the reflection, thoughts, or anything, like I seen like people like dropping some really nice comments. So yeah, so we're going towards the end. So
Yeah.
I'll let you say something for closing in, whatever you want. And then people can say things as well, because share some love to LIL-B.
Oh, Maggie has her online workshop with us coming up next month. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I haven't revealed that, but we will.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I want to put it out there now because like I like doing stuff like this, and I feel like me doing a workshop, especially online, is better if you ask a lot of questions, because then I can pick and choose what to answer and how, and I can, give body examples or whatever. But there's a lot that I feel like it's not just teach me your choreo or do it, show me a different variation. It's more than that. It's kind of like how I think about the dance, how I thought about Dawn. Like I think those things will help. If I can share that with you, I think is better. Yeah. I don't know. I obviously have a lot I can contribute to talking for like a lot of different people and backgrounds. So I'd love to keep doing this if people want to keep asking questions whenever. Like I'd love to keep doing this because it's one way to share. And right now, especially after Dawn passing, the thing that we need to do more is share, and not just our knowledge and stuff, but share stories. Share where you come from. Share like you asked me like how many times I met Dawn. Like I have so many things I can say about him, whether that's my experiences or things I know of him. But that's important to talk about and share now, because that's what he would want us to do, and I really think it's the right way. Like, share your stories. Your stories are so important. And that's why I want to. This is fun. I like to continue doing that because I think I have a lot of stories to share. And just like I was saying about Dawn, like I'm known for a lot of the good things that I did and won, and my crews who I'm involved with and all that, but I think the thing I've always wanted to share and have be understood is the journey that sucked to get there. I'm proud of it now, but there were days where it didn't matter how much support I had, I wanted to give up. And I'm sure a lot of you felt that way. And I think me sharing with that in that experience, like maybe you won't feel like it was all for nothing or you went through it by yourself.